Great. So I'm just going to welcome us again for those who are viewing the recording. We've just started recording this evening's session. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for those of us who are live in the room, but also huge thank you to everyone who is watching this recording and watching it back. It's really great to be with you this evening, and I'm really looking forward to updating you about the work of Kids Club Kampala, letting you know all the recent updates from our projects, and filling you in on my recent trip to East Africa, where I went to visit our programs in Uganda, but also our new programs in Kenya and Tanzania. So look forward to telling you all about that. So as you can see, we've got some slides on the screen. We've got some photos here. I'm going to be showing some photos and talking through different aspects of the trip and different projects. This photo here is of myself with some of our wonderful team at the head office in Kampala. So on the far left of the screen is Sam, who many of you will know is our co-founder and our Uganda director. And the rest of the team are all our senior leadership and program heads who are based at our head offices in Kampala. And they manage our field team who run all the programs day to day on the ground in Uganda. So it was just wonderful to be reunited with them again. And several of our head office staff are actually former beneficiaries, which is really, really, really great. And they're just such a wonderful bunch of people, so passionate about who we are and what we do. Next slide, please. So something really exciting that happened this year, as many of you will know, is that in April we officially partnered with the Mango Tree. So the Mango Tree is a UK charity that had been running in the UK for about 23 years. And last year, the Mango Tree trustees decided that they didn't want the charity to continue in the same way, and they were looking for an organisation to partner with to help support them and move things forward. And they approached us, and we had lots of conversations, and we realised that our values and our ethos and our programs were really aligned. So we felt like it was the right decision for us to merge organisations. And as a result, we've spent the last 9 months working behind the scenes to merge everything, lots of it administratively. But the most exciting part is, as a result of that, we've now got some additional programme partners. Some of the Mango Tree UK board have joined our board of trustees. Some of the Mango Tree UK staff are now part of our staff team. But most importantly, the Mango Trees programs and their program delivery partners in Kenya and in Tanzania and in Uganda are now being looked after by Kids Club Kampala. And this photo here is a photo of Sam, who I mentioned earlier, our Ugandan director, with Consolata, who is the director of the Mango Tree in Kenya. So she is the founder of the Kenyan organisation called the Mango Tree Kenya, who was the delivery partner of the Mango Tree UK charity. So this was a really great moment. We'd met before in the UK, and Consolata had been to Uganda to meet with Sam. So they'd met separately. Me and Consolata had met separately, and obviously I'd met Sam separately. But this was the first time the three of us all together in the same place, which was really, really great. So I'll be sharing this evening updates from our work in Uganda, which is, where the core programs are, but I'll also be explaining a little bit and all the exciting things going on there. So slide, please. So this is our office in Kampala in Uganda, and the part of Kampala it's in is called Naguru, and it's right near one of the communities we work in, called Naguru Slum. And we've had this office for a number of years now. When I flew to East Africa, I first arrived in Uganda. So I had a bit of a whirlwind trip. I was away for 2 weeks in total, and I flew from the UK to Uganda. I had about a day and a half in Uganda, I then flew to Kenya. I then flew from Kenya to Tanzania, and then from Tanzania back to Uganda for several days, and then back to the UK. So it was a bit of a whirlwind trip, but it was so great to be there, and it was so great to see our projects in action, successfully serving those communities in need and reaching some of the most vulnerable children in really difficult circumstances. Huge impact. The very first thing I did when I arrived in Uganda, so I think my flight was Friday evening, and so I arrived in Uganda early hours of Saturday morning, and the very first thing I did was I went straight to a Saturday Kids Club. And for those of you that don't know, Saturday Kids Clubs, hence our name, are really at the heart of what we do. These are fantastic fun places for vulnerable children to come and to play and to have fun and enjoy themselves and just have a fun childhood away from the worries and stresses of their everyday lives. And alongside playing games and having fun, we feed the children, we provide counselling for teenage girls who need them. We give them access to period products. And these kids clubs are just a really safe space. They're run by community volunteers. And if a child or a community member has a challenge or an issue or a concern that they need to speak to someone about, they come to our kids clubs and they come to our community volunteers, and they're able to refer cases to us or make disclosures. And then we're able to refer children and families on to our other programs, such as our child protection program, our poverty alleviation work. But the kids clubs really are at the heart of what we do. And while I was there, I took a little video, which we're going to show now, which just showcases the kids club and what it's like. Hopefully the video will play okay. Here we go.
So here I am at our playing field in Namwongo. Every Saturday we get about 100 to 150 kids gathering here for play and for fun and to just have a little bit of hope and a little bit of joy in their lives. We also run counselling, we also offer prayer, and all the kids get a snack as well. And this is the heart of what we do. This is where we started, this is where our name comes from. Kids clubs are just a fantastic way of gathering children together, showing them that we love them, and it's from there that our other services flow, that children can then be referred onto our other programs. So it's really great to be here. As you can see, there's a lot of fun happening in the background already.
So yeah, that's just a little snapshot of one of our Saturday Kids Clubs. That's in a community called Namawongo. And before I went to Uganda, one thing that we did is we put out a little appeal for people to donate play equipment, to donate skip remotes, footballs, parachutes, for the Saturday Kids Clubs, for the children to have fun and play games. And as you can see in the background, well, the first thing I did when I arrived was I went straight to a kids club and I was able to give out loads of play equipment, and it was a huge blessing. So if you donated to that, please do know that it's had such a huge impact. You could see in the back of that video as well, we also have a big football project. So there are lots of children playing football in the background, and the football program also runs every Saturday, mainly with teenage boys. And alongside learning football skills, they also get counselling, they also get food, and they also can get additional support where needed as well. Whilst also when I was there, I went to visit our early education centres, and we've got another little video just from one of our education centres. But again, our education centres are at the heart of the communities that we work in. We work directly in and for and with the communities. We don't work kind of outside and then parachute in. We have community centres, so satellite offices right within the heart of the slums, and this is where our education centres are based. So the kids clubs take place on Saturdays, and the education centres are open Monday to Friday. And vulnerable children can come and learn for free, and they, alongside learning, alongside getting a good education to get them out of poverty for the long run, they also have a lot of fun. And here's just a small snapshot of some of the songs and some of the fun that they get up to at our early education centre. There you go. So that's just a little snapshot, as you can see inside the classroom. There's it's a wonderful, safe environment for children to come. They get education. They also get a hot meal every single day. And one thing I don't know if you could tell from the video, but the classrooms are really lovely. They're really airy, they're really spacious, and they're really beautifully decorated. And we do actually have, amazingly, we have more space at our classrooms than we do have children at the moment. We've, due to resources, we don't have the funding at the moment to be able to hire more teachers or provide more food. So we've had to sort of limit the numbers of children coming to the project. There are so many more children and families who are constantly asking if they can come, and there's so much need in the community. But at the moment, sadly, just due to funding, we aren't able to expand that to more children. So one of our real hopes for next year in particular is that we'll be able to secure more funding to be able to hire additional teachers, provide more food, more resources, so that we'll be able to reach double the number of children that we're currently reaching through the education project. The next thing I visited when I was in Uganda was our Awafe project. And I know that this is a project that's close to many people's hearts. Our Awafe project is a really special place. If children who've come to our Saturday Kids Clubs, or they've connected with us through our education programs, or they're known to us within the community, if something happens, if a crisis happens and a child becomes abandoned, or a family has become homeless or has had a mental health crisis, or there's been sadly a case of abuse or a case of neglect, these children get referred to us, and we are able to support them however we can. In some instances, we're able to provide family with accommodation, we're able to provide family with a means of generating an income, we're able to do family mediation and counselling. But in some circumstances, children have been removed from their families or they have been abandoned, and these children get referred to our Awafe project. And our Awafe project, we rescue these children and we take them to our home. And a video I'm going to show in a moment gives a little tour of what our Awafe home looks like. And it's a really, really beautiful place. While they stay at the home, they get food, counselling, medical care, clothing, whatever they need. But the most important thing is they don't stay there. It's a beautiful, beautiful home, but it's not their home forever. Some children stay a few nights, some children stay a few weeks, some children stay a few months. And the most important thing is that our fantastic team of social workers work really, really hard, and we trace for these children's families. And wherever possible, we are able to resettle and reunite children back into loving families, into kinship care. About 80% of the children that come to the Awafe project are able to be resettled into kinship care, which is families, either parents or extended relatives. That additional 20%, where possible, we look for foster families for them. So this is just a little video which explains a little bit more and gives a little tour of the home. So hopefully you can feel as if you're there.
Okay, so here is our dormitory building. We've got boys and girls, and older boys and older girls in this dormitory here. Here is our social workers office, which was repurposed from a shipping container, and counselling and support takes place there. This building here right at the end is our clinic and our sick bay. We've then got our offices, and here is common room, living room. And this building over here, we've got dining room and kitchen, and we've got an overflow dormitory, as unfortunately we've had quite high numbers, particularly of teenage boys being referred to us recently. So we've purposed this room into a makeshift dormitory for additional boys. So those are the buildings. Over here we've got the bathrooms. Through this fence here is our farmland. So we've got about 3 acres of land, and we grow loads and loads of food to feed the kids in the home. But also they really enjoy digging and gardening, so it's great therapy as well. Here's our playground. It's a little bit in disrepair, so some of it does need replacing and upgrading when we've got the funds. And here is our field where kids love to play football, and then over here is our staff accommodation. So the majority of our staff stay on site in these cottages over here.
So there you go. Hopefully that's a whistle-stop tour of what our Owafe home looks like. But it is such a special place. It's about an hour north of Kampala. And for a child who has been living in a slum or who's been living on the streets or who's been abandoned, to be able to come here is such a place of respite and peace. And it just helps children to restore hope. And it's just a lovely environment for them to stay in whilst we find families for them. And to date, we've been able to rescue over 200 children through the Owafe project. No, sorry, we've been able to rescue over 250 children, and we've resettled 200 children back into families over the last 10 years, which is incredible. And again, thank you so much for all your support. Next slide, please. Oh, yes. And so the final area that I visited, a final project in Uganda that I went to spend some time at was our vocational training centres. So we have several vocational training centres in Kampala. We have a carpentry workshop, which is on the right here, and we have knitting program and also a tailoring project. So on the left here, this picture is of a knitting machine. I had never actually seen a knitting machine before going to Uganda several years ago, but it's amazing. And we teach majority women, majority single mums, how to use these industrial knitting machines. And they're able to make jumpers and other knitted items, many of which they then are able to sell or kind of get commissions from schools. So it's a really great business model. And then once they graduate from the program, we provide them their own machine to start their own business. And similarly with carpentry, this is predominantly for teenage boys, young men, but we have had women, teenage girls taking part in the carpentry project as well. But it's majority teenage boys who have never had an opportunity to go to school, to give them a skill so they're able to then set up their own businesses. And again, when they graduate, they are able to, we give them a startup kit, so then they're able to start their own business. And we've got so many wonderful stories of people who've come through our vocational training programs, now started their own business, now been able to employ other people within the community. And it's just a fantastic project. And it's just was really lovely to visit and to see all the progress. And we get lots of the carpentry tools, lots of the sewing machines and knitting machines donated from people in the UK. So again, if you're one of those people who's helped organise stuff getting shipped out, thank you so much. It's been such a huge blessing. Great. So that sort of summarizes in a nutshell. I'm aware I'm whizzing through, but I'm just mindful of time. That summarizes in a nutshell a little bit of an update about our programs in Uganda, what's been going on, and what I've been seeing. From Uganda, I then flew to Kenya to visit the work of the Mango Tree Kenya, which, as I mentioned, is our new partner. So the Mango Tree Kenya has been working in partnership with the Mango Tree UK charity for the past 20 years or so. And now that we are officially partnered, it was great for me to go and visit. So some of our trustees and Joe, who was our interim CEO last year, went to visit last year. But for myself and Sam, it was our first time to go and visit, which was amazing because I'd had so many conversations on Zoom and so many email conversations, but nothing can really beat being together in person. And it was really lovely to meet all the team and to just hear about the passion that they have for their work. And they took really good care of us, showed us around all the projects and all the work that they were doing, which I'm just going to briefly talk you through now. Some of the projects that are happening in Kenya that Kids Club Kampala is now supporting. So the first project is called the Learning and Skills for Life project, and this is the the main area that we are supporting as Kids Club Kampala. We're now helping to run this project called the Learning and Skills for Life project, and they're basically it's helping sponsor children to go to school. So identifying vulnerable children and then supporting them with access to education from primary school right through secondary school and then onto university in many cases as well. And hundreds of children have been supported through the Learning and Skills for Life project in Kenya and in Tanzania and in Uganda as well. In Uganda, their Learning and Skills for Life project has been fully integrated into Kids Club Kampala, Uganda's education support program. And this was a really lovely day that I had to meet with so many of the sponsored children through the Learning and Skills for Life project in Kenya. And it was really nice to just have time with them, to hear their stories and hear how access to education has really changed their life. And as you know, this is something we're so passionate about at Kids Club Kampala, being able to give children access to education to then be able to transform their lives so that they have a brighter future. And then in turn, they're able to transform their communities. So it was just really great to hear so many of their stories and meet with them and to be able to encourage them in their journey as well. Alongside the Learning and Skills for Life project, they have a wonderful team of community volunteers. And here is a picture of, again, me and Sam with some of the community volunteers. And again, you can just see how aligned our programs are because so much of Kids Kampala's work in Uganda would not be possible without our amazing team of community volunteers. And so I was really excited to be able to meet with the community volunteers in Kenya. There's a wonderful bunch of people, majority women, majority mothers, pillars of the community. They support children within the communities with access to education. So they are the main people who will identify and do the needs assessment for children in the communities who maybe need additional support. And they also are able to provide additional support for children who are part of the Learning Skills for Life project. So a good example of this is recently there were several children who have been sponsored to go to school through the Learning and Skills for Life project, but it found that their sort of educational performance was dropping, particularly during holiday periods when they'd come back at the beginning of term after a holiday break. Their performance at school was just really dropping and it was really struggling. And some community volunteers identified that it's because these children, they didn't have any safe place to go to, and in the holidays they were being made to work very hard and to earn money for their family. And what these community volunteers did is they were able to intervene, speak to parents, advocate on behalf of their children, and they set up a holiday homework club. So it was and this was all just organised and run by volunteers. They set up a holiday homework club so children in the school holidays could come along, do their homework, but most importantly, have a safe space to talk about how they're feeling, to not be worked really hard in other areas, and to be able to, catch up on their studies and focus on academics, but also to be supported and encouraged and nurtured by this wonderful team of volunteers. So it was really lovely to hear some of those stories. And then the other area, big area of work that the Mango Tree Kenya runs, which we are now partnering with, is called Our Lives, Our Land. In where what I should have said earlier is the projects in Kenya are majority based in an area called Homa Bay, which is in Western Kenya. So it was a bit tricky to get to because we had to fly to Nairobi, and then from Nairobi we had to travel to Kisumu, which is a large town in Western Kenya, and then it was a couple of hours drive to Homa Bay County. Homa Bay is a county in Kenya that has been particularly affected by climate change in recent years, sadly. It's on the shores of Lake Victoria, so it's sort of just the other side of Lake Victoria from Kampala, and lots of communities have been really affected by climate changes, and the changes to the lake. So formerly, lots of people would fishing, but sadly, lots of fishing stocks have depleted recently. And lots of people have been getting involved with sand mining, as there's quite a big market for sand mining. Unfortunately, this is all what I learned about while I was there. Unfortunately, when sand mining happens, it erodes the soil completely. If you're mining sand, the sand runs off and it completely can destroy the land. It means that people aren't able to farm anymore, and also it affects the quality of the water. And climate change is not helping with this as well. So there's lots of areas of land which were previously quite fertile land, but because of this soil mining, sand mining, but also because of the climate change, it means that farming is very, very difficult, and it was very difficult for people to make a living because so much land was unusable. And so what the Mango Tree Kenya did is they saw this need, and they were looking at how can we help respond, how can we help support people. And what they've done is they've set up lots of community groups across the county of passionate people who really care about their community, and have helped them find new agricultural techniques to combat climate change, but also help people think of other ways to sustainably generate an income, so they're not focusing just on sand mining or on fishing, which isn't sustainable. So I went to visit lots of great projects, and they've got huge beekeeping programs. This photo here is of one of the community beekeeping groups. And I also went to see people with goat programs, chicken projects, and vegetable growing, fruit trees, and lots of great things which are helping people get a sustainable income, helping people feed their families, and helping the environment. And another big thing that they do as well, in partnership with the Kenyan Forestry Association, is do a lot of tree planting. And it's really amazing to see. I got to spend a whole day in the forest, learning all about the tree planting, and they're basically just repopulating the forest, regrowing the trees. And again, that's why the beekeeping is so important, to help pollinate and help the trees to grow. And it was just really great to see people who passionately care about their environment making positive steps to help fight the effects of climate change and to help recover their land. So that was, yeah, a really exciting area that I saw. So as I said, the main areas that we're supporting the Mango Tree Kenya with in Kenya is the Our Lives Our Land program and the Learning and Skills for Life educational support. But it was really great to see all the different work that they're doing and to see where the synergies are. And we've got big plans for the future of how we can continue to work together, share learning across different countries, and to be able to scale up some of the work we're doing, particularly the child protection work, how we can scale that up into Kenya and into Tanzania as well, to be able to support more vulnerable children there too. Okay, so the next place that I went to is Tanzania. So here is a photo of me looking absolutely giant. Here's with the team in Tanzania. So the organisation's name in Tanzania is called OMC, which stands for the Organisation of Matumaini Communities. And this is in Morogoro in Tanzania, which is in central Tanzania. So it's sort of halfway between Dodoma, the capital, and Dar es Salaam. And this was the fantastic project team that we met with. And again, it was just so wonderful to meet people who I had previously only spoken to over Zoom, only spoken to over email or WhatsApp. It was so wonderful to be together in person, to meet together, to hear people's stories and to hear their passions. And such a fantastic, inspirational group of people who really, really care passionately about the children and communities that they're supporting. And it's just really lovely to spend some time together with them. And alongside showing me around all their projects, we also got to have a little bit of time just hanging out, getting to know each other and doing some fun things as well. So similarly to in Kenya, the main project that we are supporting in Tanzania is the Learning and Skills for Life project. The Learning and Skills for Life project has been running for several years in Tanzania. And again, it's supporting through access to education for vulnerable children from primary school to secondary school and up to university as well. And this photo was from a wonderful day that myself and Sam spent meeting with some soon to be graduates of the project. So all of these amazing people had been sponsored through the Learning and Skills for Life project from the beginning of primary school right through to secondary school, and they're all just about to graduate from university. And it was so encouraging and so inspiring hearing so many of their stories. People that were graduating in all sorts of different courses. There was accountancy, agriculture, law, midwifery, ophthalmology. It was honestly such an incredible day, just hearing people's stories and hearing their passions. And almost everybody that I spoke to was telling me about how school sponsorship had changed their life, but they were also telling me how that now they've graduated, they're going to be able to get a really good job and they're going to be able to change other people's lives as well. That was a consistent theme that was really running throughout this, was that because I was given this chance to have an education, I was given this chance through sponsorship to go to school, I'm going to use my bright future that I now have to help other people. I'm going to go back to my community and find other people that need help and support them to go to school. I'm going to use my newfound skills and my newfound education to change my community and change my country. And honestly, it was really inspiring. So it was really nice to be there in person and to hear these stories and to just hear firsthand the impact that this fantastic work is having. Um, so that's kind of the end of my sort of whistle stop tour through my trip in Uganda and Kenya and Tanzania. I hope that you've enjoyed hearing all about the stories. If you are interested and you're not already signed up to our newsletter, I think we're going to post the link in the chat. But if you're interested and haven't yet signed up to that, we share not it's not a lot. You don't get bombarded with emails. We just send out a monthly email with news and updates from the projects and from the communities that we support. So if you've been this evening, if you've enjoyed hearing some of the updates, learning more about the different projects and the programs and how they all fit together across different countries and different communities, then we would love to encourage you to sign up to our newsletter to just hear more updates and learn more about what we're doing as the months and years go on. So I think the link to that is now in the chat box. Yeah, great, thank you. So I just wanted to end by saying really that the need in our communities is growing. It was so great to be in East Africa. It was so great to see the work firsthand of the projects and to hear stories of lives changed. But also, I was really struck that I was also hearing sad news as well. Sadly, the impacts that the cuts to international aid that happened earlier in this year, the impacts are really being felt really tangibly in many different ways. When I was in Kenya, it was absolutely heartbreaking to hear that the Mango Tree Kenya for a number of years had been running this fantastic project supporting HIV positive people to have better lives, and that project is had to close overnight because it was US aid funded, and the second that those funding cuts happened, that project had to close. It meant that people lost their jobs, but also it meant that people who were previously being supported to access ARVs and HIV medication were no longer being supported. In Uganda, similarly, we've heard so many stories of people who've been relying on different drugs and different medications, then suddenly no longer being available on the market. And also so many other organisations and large international NGOs programs are closing. For example, in Uganda, a large international NGO has been running a domestic violence rescue centre in Kampala for a number of years, and that was funded by UK aid. When those funding cuts happened, that centre has closed and that programme has completely stopped. But of course, the children and the families who are part of that centre still need support. So the local authorities phoned Kids Club Kampala Uganda's team and said, can you help? Can you help these children? They were staying at this centre. The centre's now closed, and we don't have anywhere for them to go. And, we don't have any additional funding to do any additional work. We don't have any additional funding to take on any additional children. But of course, we couldn't say no. So now we've got several more children at our OAFE project, quite complex cases. Um, and it's just we're seeing these knock-on effects every day. Also, as I already mentioned earlier, we're seeing effects of climate change every day. Particularly, as I said, in Kenya, they're doing lots of work to mitigate the impacts of climate change. But also, we were seeing it in Tanzania and in Uganda as well. In Tanzania, hearing about how farming is becoming increasingly difficult because of erratic rainfall. And actually, when I was in Uganda, this photo is in Katanga, which is one of the biggest slums in Kampala. And I'm not sure how well you can see in the background of the photo, but while I was there was a really heavy downpour, and the whole community completely flooded instantaneously. Um, and it's not just that the community field flooded so that we couldn't play games and we couldn't do the kids club, but several people's homes flooded as well. And these things are becoming more regular occurrences, sadly. So as much as I was really encouraged by seeing all the impact on the ground, I was also it was sad to hear some of these stories of increasing need in the communities that we're working in. Um, I've just got one final video to share with you from some of our team on the ground in Uganda.
Hello, my friends. My name is Sam, and I'm the Executive Director and Co-founder of Kids Club Kampala. Our mission is to support children and families across East Africa by providing them with the opportunities they need to lift themselves from poverty. This year, alongside many other small organizations, we have seen the real-life impact of devastating aid cuts, with some charities being forced to withdraw support in certain areas or shut down altogether. As a result, the need in our communities is even greater. And with the limited resources we have, we are doing all that we can to support as many people as possible. But with all doing this, we need your help. Every penny raised between the 2nd and the 9th of December via our Big Give campaign page will be doubled.
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 Doubled. Doubled.
That means that any donation you choose to make will have twice the impact here in our communities. So, on behalf of myself, our teams on the ground, and the children that we support, I am asking you to please consider making a donation this Big Give week and make the most of this opportunity to have your support doubled. Thank you so much for your support. May God bless you.
Great, thank you. Yes, so as Sam said, this week is Big Give Week, and all this week we have been raising money through the Big Give Christmas Challenge to raise money to support the children and the communities in need. And as I said, and as Sam said as well, the need sadly is really increasing. Now, I know that we said in the video all donations this week will be doubled. Well, amazingly, as of today, we are really, really absolutely blown away. To be honest, I'm still a little bit in shock that amazingly we have been able to already reach our target within just a couple of days, which means that at the moment we are the campaign's still open and we still need to raise as much money as possible. At the moment, that doubling aspect is no longer available because those funds have been used up. However, what we are doing is we're speaking to the Big Give, and they've said that we are able to extend that, and we are working quite hard to find more pledge funders so that we can continue to offer that doubled matching donation aspect. If you haven't yet donated to the Big Give campaign and you are interested in making a donation and you would like that donation to be doubled, please do get in touch with us. Please do either message in the chat or drop us an email and we can make sure that the donation will be doubled because we have some additional match funding that we will be able to add onto the campaign. So also, as I said, the campaign is still running till Tuesday, and even though we've exceeded our initial target, the need is never going to go away. As we want to raise as much money as we possibly can. For those of you who've already made a donation, I know there's some of you on the call this evening who've already made a donation. Thank you so much. It has been, honestly, I have been so blown away about how much money we've managed to raise. We've reached our initial target, but we want to keep going. So as I said, if you haven't made a donation and you're interested in making a donation and making that and having that donation doubled, please do just drop me a message or send an email to us. We can put our email in the chat and we can make that happen. But thank you so much. Yeah, it's been, to be honest, it's been a very tough year fundraising wise. It's been very difficult. So the fact that we've been able to raise so much in such a short amount of time it's quite staggering, really. So yeah, thank you to all of you for all of your incredible support. Yes, so that kind of nicely comes to the end of my talking. I'm aware I've been talking a lot, and we've got about 10-15 minutes till we're going to close. So if anybody does have any questions, please do let me know. As they say in Uganda, the floor is now open. I'm not sure if we had any questions in the chat. If anyone has got any questions, thank you for everyone introducing yourself in the chat. Oh, amazing that Craig's going to be flying out tomorrow. That's amazing. Does anyone have any questions?
I don't have any questions, but just to say, obviously, I have been out there quite a few times and seen all the projects you're doing and firsthand, and it does make a huge difference to the children out there. So well done to the whole team. I'm literally just going out for the weekend, so I will be popping in to see hopefully Sam on across the weekend just to see drop off some goods. So yeah,
amazing.
Just well done to everyone, and hopefully next year's a really good year for the charity.
Thank you so much, Craig. Really appreciate your kind words, and that's amazing that you're just flying out for the weekend. And yes, I know Sam and the team will be thrilled to see you, so that'll be amazing. And yeah, it's always nice to be on a weekend because then you can drop into one of our Saturday kids clubs, which are great fun.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and the good thing now is you can fly to Uganda direct, which is amazing.
Absolute game changer.
It makes a short trip even more possible. So
yeah, definitely. Oh, that's brilliant. Brilliant. Anyone else got any questions? Feel free to come off mute and just chat if you'd like to. Has anyone from the Kids from Kampala team got anything to remind me that I've missed to say? I was trying to remember to say everything. No, I think we can, we'll stop the recording now. And then we can just chat if anyone's got any other questions.